Peace, everyone. Welcome to another sketching session. This is Master Menelek, and I reiterate for those of you who are just coming in, this isn't really a class series. This is just, for those who wanted to join in on some exploration of some art concepts. These are my workshop hours, and in order to keep myself accountable, I stream them, making sure that um, I don't miss at least 1 or 2 hours on Tuesday nights. So I typically start at 9, and anyone who wants to join in, show what they may be getting from the session. Maybe you learn something, you maybe want to try something, you know, um, you're definitely welcome to do so. So put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, because I'm still, kind of new to this layout where I'm sharing the screen and working from a digital device. And I want to, peace on the radio. I want to try a couple of different things. Okay, I see the 1, so you can hear me. I want to try a couple of different things in terms of experimenting with form, right? So we've been going through different art elements. We dealt with line, we dealt with shape, and now we're going to deal with form. And with form, you're dealing with 3 dimensions, as opposed from flat shapes or one-dimensional lines. And yeah, we're going to just have fun with it. I have a couple of this also serves as like a digital journal as well. So you may hear me mumbling to myself as I discover different things about different elements. But I wanted to explore different planes in this session. Planes of a shape are when you go from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions, you start to form what are known as planes. Because with 2 dimensions, you only have one plane. That's the one that's facing you. But when you add a 3rd dimension, I'll show you what I mean. Oh, peace, peace. Anyway, Akira Eden. Yeah, you finally caught me from the beginning. So yeah, I'm gonna switch to this screen. So I won't be able to see all of the comments, but Sister Yamina is gonna be feeding them to me. Okay, so one of the main things you want to look at when you're dealing with forms is let's have a simple form. Let's say I'm still getting used to this tablet too, but I didn't even know I could do this. Yeah, so I can draw straight lines. I'm technically cheating. Technically, if I knew how to work it, then I would be cheating. Let's see. That's 1 line. I guess you got to commit to the line. That's another line. Oh. That's another line. Another line. Oh, that's not going to come out well. So that's a flat plane there. And let's say I might as well go with I was used to. There we go. Ooh, straight line. I didn't even have to use the cheat. Look at that. And I'm going to draw this line up here. Close enough. Okay, so here we can see a 3-dimensional shape, and let me, so you guys can see. Let's say I'll make this one orange. What the? It's Supposed to be orange, bro. Orange. Yeah, good. Okay, so let's say the orange plane is your front plane. Teal plane is your side plane. And purple plane, I guess. Yeah, this would be the top plane, right? So you got 3 planes there, and each of them are facing in different directions. So this is very important to note when you're getting into, I'll use this one. When you're getting into drawing more three-dimensional shapes, you will find that it is very easy to depict a three-dimensional form if you pay very close attention to your planes and the direction in which they're facing. Otherwise, you can get like lost in the sauce, and you can start to draw planes that don't necessarily make sense, right? So this is 3 sides or 3 planes of our six-sided shape. Of course, you have one going this way, one pointing downwards, one pointing that way into the distance. So with these, I can depict what I want to depict in 3-dimensional space. But I'll use a car again. We used an example of a car in a previous session. So let's say I have that same shape, right? Same cuboid shape. I'll just draw it very loosely. With a sketchy light. Right, so let's say this is our car in concept. Oh, I'm getting the smoke signals in the back. Ema Kui is in the space, so I can't see you, but peace to you. Okay, so we have our car right here, right? And even though it doesn't look so, I'll use a lasso. Thank you. And I will create. Can I create a double? I don't know how to make it double. Duplicate. Oh. Still getting used to this thing. Yeah. I'll do this instead. Make it less opaque, and then I'll just draw on top of it. How about that? Okay, so now that I have that, can I invert? Okay, so since I know this is the shape of my car, I can say, I don't need that no more. Uh-oh. This is why I never used to deal with these digital stuff. It can get complicated. Okay, that's better. Okay, that. So you're down here. And you are less opaque. And then bear with me as I get used to this digital stuff. Okay, so I know that this is the plane that is facing me, right? So I know that the front of the car is somewhere around here. Just using those simple shapes that we spoke about last round. And since I know that plane changes here, right? Which is important. When you see hard lines like this is letting you know that the plane is changing. It's no longer facing forward or in this 3/4 direction. It's also showing me the side view. So since I know that this is changing, I can change directions at this point and pull it backwards like that. I can add my tires here. They won't be perfect circles, it'd be more like ellipses. And I know that some parts of the car are going to be hidden. Say that's the front, that's the grill. I don't know, let's see a little insignia thingy. Front windshield, kind of. And then I would have to draw it, receding into space, which we're not at yet. That's when we get into perspective. But just talking about different planes of it, I know that I have the front and the side, similar to if I have a building. Usually, when we used to draw houses when we were younger, that's the house, door, window, and then you have the roof, and you draw a little sun, right? But in this case, you know that there's a side of the house as well, so you can use your cuboid shape and just pull that back. And look at that. Now you have other stuff going on. Right? You grow your grass and everything. And then one giant flower. Okay. And then that's basically it. You know. But we're going to be looking at people today, you know, not just shapes, random shapes with people, since I'm more partial to people. But you can use these for anything, really. And you don't necessarily need to use cubes, right? You could use spheres and make something three-dimensional with that, and even determine the axis of those spheres, right? To say, okay, it's tilted this way, you know, or maybe it's even tilted this way. Whichever direction it's pointing in, it'll help you out a lot. So let's get into our practice. I guess I can erase that by accident. I'll leave the cube there, the original cube. And you can just thank you for your service. Oops. Put that up in the corner there somewhere. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to look at is, before we get to faces and everything, I wanted to look at the skull again. We worked on this, we looked at it before, but I just wanted to go over it again. So I want to make another layer. I'm going to make this a little bit more see-through. Sister Yumina, in terms of using grids to explore planes, what exactly do you mean? There's answers to that, but depending on what you mean, it would determine the answer to that. Peace, Sister Maria. Okay, so I have this here, and I'm just going to choose something that's a little bit more visible. I'm going to pick green. What a surprise. And I'm going to kind of maybe sort of answer your question, Sister Yamina, but I want you to be a little bit more specific with what you're asking me. Okay, so as you know, there's contours, right? There's contours that go around the shape. And let me make this line a little bit bigger. Is that too big? It's not too big. Contours that go around the shape and they define the outside of the shape. But you don't necessarily have to go along with it. If it helps, you can use, this might be a little too big. Yeah, but if it helps, you can use more straight lines around the edges just to get the feel for how a thing is shaped, and then come back and add your finer details later. But what these straighter lines can help you to signify is, let me see what's going on in the chat. Oh, you were referring to using a grid to draw on, or grid paper. Oh no, it would be better to just go with your contours. I'll show you. I think I know what you're getting at, but I'll show you what you can use. Oh, and Sovereign needs to ask the question. I think you answered it. Okay, so I'll show you what you can do, Sister Yamina. As you can see, I'm going around and I'm just drawing straight lines, right? They don't necessarily have to trace it. It just helps to get the basic shape of everything, whether it's the jaw or the little backside of the head that you see there. But every time you see me make a change, so if I'm going from this side here, this type of line here, to this type of line here, and then I'm changing here, and every time I change direction, I'm actually changing a plane, but you can't necessarily see it because you can only see the outline, right? But if I did something like this, and then something like this, just to draw really large masses. And then something like that. then it seems like it's a bit more geometric. And plane changes can be small, like so, or they can be large, like in this area up here. It all depends on how much detail you're looking to show and how minute change it, how minute the changes are that you see. But these also help you to define shapes later, right? So let's say if I come over here and I draw my head, I divide up everything into thirds like we did in previous sessions. I get my jaw. Even if I just did this, you know that eyeballs are supposed to go there, right? And if I did this, you know that this dark space here is where the nose goes. You know, even if I just did this, you know that's a mouth. And you can add on your different features later as you see fit, right? You may notice that these two sides here are a little darker because the plane is changing. It's going like so, right? And light may hit this side much more easily than it does get into this gap because it's really like a bowing sort of shape to it. So understanding the plane, similar to if we draw the ground, and let's say Sister Yafe's stick figure is walking across, it doesn't really seem like much is happening because they're just going across a flat surface, right? But let's say Sister Yafe's stick figure's cousin is going across, and the background is here, but you can see all of these different little plane changes or little rocks going along the path. You could almost feel how arduous this sort of path is going to take them, right? And they're still going in the same direction, but they may have to take a more difficult path based on just the amount of plane changes that are on the ground in front of them. And it's no different than here. Like, think about when a blind person wants to know what you look like, they run their hands across the various plane changes on your face. And that'll sort of give them an idea of what you look like. Right? So studying plane changes is very important in that sense. It also helps you to determine what parts of the drawing are facing you, which parts of the drawing are in direct light, when a drawing comes forward, like it may here, or when it recedes, like it may use a different color. I should probably be using a cooler color, like this darker blue. Yeah, so you'll know when it recedes because you have these colder colors and these deeper shadows going on. And then it gets deeper and deeper still, and that'll let you know the varying degrees of pressure you may need to put on it. So this one might be a much darker plane. Same here. Same here. Right? All of these things are in shadow. And it's your job to not only separate the light from the shadow, but to pay very close attention to the subtle nuances between the two and the subtle transitions. And what helps you to map out those transitions are a very keen assessment of the plane changes that occur. So that's why exercise is like just grading out, okay, this plane changes and it points downward a little bit more, which is why the light doesn't hit it as good, right? Whereas this thing right here, this little box, it's facing us a little bit more because this slopes and this slopes and this slopes and this slopes. All of these are facing away from the light except for, let me use a different color, a little brighter. Except for this little nugget here, right? So these are facing towards the light, which doesn't necessarily mean it's facing towards you, but the light source here, it looks like it's coming from this angle, but it's more like it's going towards, the face from the top down, right? And being able to depict things in three-dimensional space is something that most artists strive for because it helps people to relate to it a little bit better. But sometimes the three-dimensionality of it isn't the point. What's the point is what you are attempting to convey. And that may determine if you want to use plane changes, if you want to use anything that's three-dimensional, or if you just want people to, get the point and keep it moving. That's up to you. But as you can see, what these plane changes also determine are, let me use these three colors. You have the lights, then you have mid-tone, and then you would have shadows. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at there, right? And I just wanted to go over that really quickly because those plane changes are helpful if you're using geometric forms to depict people or the shapes of people, just like how you would use geometric forms to depict two-dimensional objects. So I am going to go back to black. This should be good. And what's the first one I want to do? Whoops. What'd I do? Oh. Okay, I thought I closed everything. Okay, and feel free to keep asking questions. I'll check the chat periodically. Okay, let's go with an easy one. And I'll say it's easy because, not just because you can see plane changes, but also because the gesture is really, the gesture is easy to see. So before I go into drawing, let me see if I can practice a little bit of finding gesture lines. So let's use this funky lime green, and you can even just follow the shadow. And oh no, what have I done? Okay. Okay, so you can just follow the shadow and make this a little bigger. And that'll let you know right there. That's the gesture line. And since you're focusing on those three-dimensional sides, that would be the next part of her hip and next leg droops out like so. This goes back and okay, cool. So we got a gesture line. Like that. Yeah, so you have a gesture line right there, and that helps you to determine how your block form is going to look, sort of. Right, so let's say that's the contour there. I'm going to remove this. I don't have to move it. I can just change the shape. Look at that funky thing. Okay, so I changed the shape of that, and I'm just playing around with stuff. I'll move this over here. Make it a little bigger. And make another layer. Make this black. Make it smaller. It's kind of getting used the hang of it. Okay, so I already know that this is the gesture line here. Let's say we have a small box, because I already know that her head is like flung back a little bit, and it's almost facing this direction here. It's almost looking straight up. So I already know I can draw something like this, and I'm also following the form. So I'm going to curve my box a little bit. Okay, so that's the face. This is the neck, and it's curved as well. And you have the beginning of the torso, right? That's also following the line. So I should probably make this a little bigger. Yeah, let me make this a little bigger. Yeah, that's a little better. A little bit more visible. So we also see her torso sort of following the box there. That just makes it look super wide, doesn't it? So what you can see here is if you make a little landmark like right here, this is where the plane changes, right? And I'll even use a draw through method. This is also where the plane changes. Um, Drawing through is just you can erase lines later, but just to make sure you get them accurately, you allow them to overlap. Okay, so that's another plane change there. This is where her rib cage ends, so I'll add another plane change there, and you can see it ending around here too. Right, so those planes changing, and I'll just let these two connect. to keep the shape pretty simple, as simple as you could keep it. Okay. I mean that a little bit slimmer there. Okay. So that's her rib kit so far. And I'll remove it. All right. And this, of course, would be her spine. So we'll include that. And this is a little bit more of that draw through method. So there you go. And you can see that um, her torso takes a very squashed sort of bend to it. So her hip comes out like this now. It's actually almost pointed upward, like so. So you might even see the top plane of her hip. And her hip is like so. Let me see if I can do this a little bit quicker. Okay. And of course, you just have her leg there, which I can't use blocks anymore because this is a joint here. And it would serve better if you use a cylinder. Right? And then you, of course, have a joint here. And then another cylindrical shape here. And I'll just do something like this. Right? So that's how our hand is looking. Then you have like a ball and socket joint here again. And I'll draw through. We got a leg going out like so. And it's not super important that you follow the original gesture line, but it helps you to get an understanding and a general idea of what you're trying to accomplish with the pose um, that you're looking at. I'll draw it like that. And this one is another ball and socket here. This one comes forward like so. Whoops. And then it bends right back. Okay. And that's, it really helps when you're following your gesture lines and you're following your curves and you're really exploring what's going on um, beneath the skin and bones, right? Oh, peace, Sister Yafe. Yeah, just talking about you and your stick figures and your stick figures cousins, doing their thing. Okay, so that's like it's like a warm up round, I guess. But Willfully, you were able to see how that finding that gesture line first helps to map out exactly what kind of um, flow that your form is moving with, right? You always want to look at the flow of energy in any type of pose or how someone holds their body, and then that'll give you a little bit more information about how you want to draw these things. So I am going to. Do I want to save everything on one page? Let me try something. Put that like that. Done. You may go. Oh, this guy. You may go. I'll just hide you. And I'm gonna hide you. I'm going to hide you. Okay, let's try this one next. New layout. Okay, so this one we're drawing someone who's facing and sort of two different directions. Her body is. Let me get my Grisine. Okay, so you can see that her face is doing two directions. That's just sloppy. You have one side of her face, or one side of her is looking this way. And then you have her body here, her neck, but her body is facing this way. Yeah. Let's do it this way. Her legs a little closer together. And your arm. That's what I was talking about with the draw through method. You don't necessarily need to worry about good arms long. You don't need to worry too much about drawing through something because you can erase it later and show like, oh, okay, we already know these lines are covering the arm. So yeah, next pose, right? Didn't even have to be a long one. So let's see, what can I do here? I shall move you to this space. But yeah, you can see how the general pose is there, and that's what really matters. And then you can focus on features later. You may even da, 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 may even want to establish, okay, these are my center lines. I know her ears are somewhere on this side of her head. Um, this may be her chin down here. And see, I just wanted to draw a dress. This is a little lower, like so. What am I doing? What was I just doing? And you have your sleeves. Got the little top bun, the little bangs. Maybe even some flowers. And of course, the luxury of these things is you can always come back later and add more solid shapes. Yeah, whatever you feel like doing, right? All right. But I just wanted to go over really quick, I guess, compositions to see how easily I can create. Um, well, not really create, but capture different figures and poses using these methods. Uh, Something like so. I probably should have separated the black and the green, but whatever. we'll see a little bit more of how you can clean it up with the next figure. I am going to just politely nudge this one to the side as well. Okay. And let's see, what's another one? Let's try this one. Make it a little bigger. Actually, that might include all three. And let me see. I don't think I checked the chat in a while. It says so. Sister Yamina says so helpful, especially with the proportions. Oh yeah, it does help out a lot. This one is a little too cool, so I'll use red. Bright red. Okay, so with this one, you can see his. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, it's probably just difficult to see him, right? Yeah, the red one cut it. There you go. A little bit brighter. And you can even see a little bit of this too. Oops. I say it comes around here and then it stops. So everything converges on the center point here. And your lines don't have to make any type of technical sense. They just have to map out to you where the major points are and where the energy is gathering. As you can see, all the energy is gathering on the central point. And you could almost feel his core being, engaged with this super pose he's doing. Then you have this guy. Oh man, that's sick. So he has this sort of pose here. And then again, I'm giving the disclaimer. I guess I should include the energy from the board. I almost got to do like the whole, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it. This is just helping me to make sense of all of the shapes that I'm looking at and being able to define them in space, based on the various plane changes that be going on. Even here, right, you can see plane change. You can see where things are facing towards the light, facing away from the light. And it's not always geometric because as we were dealing with in shapes can be either geometric or they can be natural. natural shapes don't really follow any set pattern. So I can't just draw straight lines like I did with the cube in the beginning. Uh-oh, what's going on now? Oh, that's it. I was scared. That's the end of the canvas. So stop drawing. But yeah, let me see. I'm going to take this and move it like so over here. Or move it over here. I don't know, I'm looking for something that I can still make sense of. All right, I'll put it here. And I think I took the box with it. Okay, so I'll do this. Am I good to? Can I copy and paste? Transform. Can I? Oh. Aha, I can. So I'm gonna move you here to the new home. And now I can shrink this down a little bit and get busy. See, I'm getting the hang of it. I can shrink this down now. And let's see how. All right, yeah, it's cropped off. Don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, I don't want to leave nobody behind. I don't know if anyone following along. Put a one in the chat if you were, and we could go with a very simple one. Okay, so first we have this guy. Oh, I should. Haha. I'll use a different color here. Let's say yellow, purple, blue. Let's use blue. So as you can see, he's looking downwards, like so. Trying to stick that line in. I know I would be. So I'm gonna draw like so. So that would be the front plane of his face. This would be the side plane. You see a little bit of the top plane, not too much. Make it smaller. And you have a tiny neck. And his body is kind of curved. I think I made this a little too straight, actually, when I'm looking at the gesture line. So his body is curved, like body is curved, almost like so. And there's very little side plane to be seen there. So I'll do it like that. And then everything comes to the head here. I'm drawing a more extreme angle of it. Since we're getting, oh, I can erase this actually. So that looks more like so. And it comes down like so. Then you have circle, socket joint. You have his board. So board is something like that. And the um, beautiful thing about these sorts of programs again is you don't necessarily have to worry about being super clean because you can always just make another layer. His arm goes up so like that. And you make a little black power fist up there. His hip is sort of facing us, which means it comes down like so. And we would see a lot of the bottom plane of that. I'll draw it like that. And you'll see what I did there because I know it looks messy. Then you have this is like kind of crazy because his knee comes over and covers it. Let me use a different color just so it's less confusing. Let's say I'll use green because his knee comes over and covers everything around his chest area, his chestal section. And this is like the ball and socket joint here. And this is where the leg connects because there's some, well, we're going to go over foreshortening. So there's some foreshortening there. And then where his shoes are. And his legs sort of turn in to face us. And that's the cylinder for that foot. And then you have a similar thing happening down here. All right. So you only need one circle here because unlike up here, this is his knee, this is his hip, this is his hip, and this would be leg. This would be the ball and socket, and then his other leg here. Then you would have his shoe, and that's the other side of the board there. And let me see if I can capture all of that. Well, let me see what's going on with the rest of these people down here. Yeah, one person down here who's just super amazed and glad he saw this. That would be his hand, cylinder there, taking his hand to the elbow. And again, we're just using simple forms, cylinders, rectangles, circles, I mean spheres. Then you have this square here. This would be the side plane of his body. This would be the front plane. And then he sort of like turns his hips towards us in a very disrespectful fashion. And again, to help you see it clearer, I'll change. And you have his legs sort of expanding that way. and then it gets covered. Oops. And then you got the arm lockup. Which you don't really need much detail to go into. Yeah, I could just draw it as a stick figure because she's just so far away. And since I promised I'd go over clean it up process, a little bit more detail. So now you have a face that can go here. Maybe I can add his clothing in now. Okay, there you have it. And more radical D. And you can always go into it with a little bit more detail. But that was just shapes, lines, and forms, right? And a good example of like just three of these art elements working together. And I wanted to sort of focus on a recap session as well, in terms of just going over, okay, this is what we studied, this is what we learned. We learned three things, right? And I'm saying we, not I'm saying we because you're learning them along with me, because I never really explored these things as concepts in and of themselves. I just used to like use them if I saw fit to use them very unconsciously, you know. So I'm just really working on, okay, I know how to do this thing, but it's always been subconscious. So how do I do the thing? Okay, so that's enough of this shape, right? I think we all got the picture. I shall. What time is it? Because I tend to go overboard sometimes. Okay, that's not too bad. 1 hour in. We'll do one more and then wrap it up. I might continue to do a little bit more afterwards. But yeah, put a one in the chat if you're following along. If you have your sketchbook ready, I mean, if you have your sketchbook with you, I will choose a much simpler subject. Let me make this smaller. Put this one over here. I didn't even include a. This one's all right. Try to do something a little creative there. Oh, merge. Can I merge? Select multiple. I should be able to merge them together, right? Ah, merge down. There we go. Okay, so you all two together. Deselect and make it a little smaller. I could go over here somewhere. And you're gone. You're gone. But now I see ya. Okay, so something a little bit simpler. Let's see what we got. Hmm. I had another simple one here. I don't know if I loaded it or not. I don't think I did. Nice and simple. I haven't been watching Backstage, so okay. So you mean this with me? Um, all right. So I'll go pretty slow with this one, and feel free to join in Backstage. It's kind of difficult for me to see. I might need to get a separate screen for this, but this one is pretty straightforward. Let's go back to our funky green. And I'll go over the boxes briefly, since you're following along. Oh no, got green on his face. So as you can see right here, and the gesture is pretty simple. It's just a nice subtle curve, almost imperceptible, right? And that slight curve is caused by the tilt of his head right here. So you have the front planes again, and his head is sort of receding a little bit. Whoops. I should choose a different. I choose a different color for these. Whoops. Different color for these squares. I'll choose orange. I think it'll be a little bit more visible. Okay, that's a little better. So you got this tilt here. Get that tilt going back there. This would be the front plane of his face. And of course, you have the tilt of his neck. And his body sort of almost goes in an opposite direction. So this would be the front of his body because his yeah, body's facing outwards, like so. All right. So we want it to be reflected here. I typically like to stop at the bottom of the rib cage just to make it a little clearer what's going on. Um, and then you can see that sort of slight tilt there. Oops. And then, of course, his spine continues. Now you have his hips, which are pretty much facing in the same direction. I want to make sure these lines are parallel. Yeah, so you know his hips and body are facing in the same direction. Then you have his hip joints, of course, and cylinders form his legs. Um, yeah, his hips are a little higher though. They're probably up here. That's probably just how he's wearing his pants. Let me move this a little bit. Move this over there a little bit, like so. Yeah, that's closer to where his hips start and where his legs start. So apologies for those of you who can't do that in their sketchbooks. So your kneecaps there, of course. And I'd say his legs start a little higher up. And his calves start down here. Say his ankles end there. And same set weight for the other side. You can see his legs almost sort of overlap. That's where his ankles are, and then you have his feet. Of course, you have his arms. And there you have it. The line is complete. And I'm just gonna move this over so you can see it. And so far, we still only use 3 shapes. With the exception of his shoes, everything is cube, sphere, cylinder. Cube, sphere, cylinder. So, go back to the block, make a new layer, and let's say I wanted to draw a head. Children's heads are much bigger. And I'm following that same shape. Well, no, I can't follow the shape exactly. Come forward like so. This would be hairline, just rough thirds, nose, bottom of the nose, bottom of the chin. Say drawers close. Notice the plane change here. I'll set it comes in a little bit more like that. Oh, you got distracted by the clothing. Yeah, that was like my main mistake before I even started drawing figures. I would always get stuck on the contours, the outside shape of things, as opposed to why those things are shaped that way. His clothes are shaped a certain way because of the form. And I'm drawing a goofy bow tie on you. You got more class than that, the Tyrone. You got more swag than that. Okay, so there you go, right? I'm gonna remove this. You can see different improvement. But yeah, in terms of just gesture drawings and getting figures down, these construction lines and these shapes and spheres and um, all of these things. Yeah, you have to go back and rework it, right? Yeah, I think that's good. I I think I hit the hour and a half mark that I was aiming for too. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Did you find anything interesting? You learn anything new? I know you did on the radio. Um, did this help you with the way that you draw? You know, if you do draw, and yeah, leave a comment down below. I'm really interested in seeing if this is helpful at all. Honestly, it's helping me because it's helping me to keep on track, keep up with my practicing, and I have like a little vlog, I guess you would call it, a video journal of just me sketching and going through the different thoughts that I have and how I would explain what I'm doing to someone else. You know, so it's definitely helping me um, with all of my various skills and foundational skills and things like that. So when I get into doing more pieces, which should be soon, because I can't just be um, sketching on here forever. I gotta put some stuff up there in the world. So that's definitely an onus that I gotta put on myself as well. And willfully, I could stick to it as faithfully as I've been sticking to these sketching sessions. Well, I will. You know, I can't just say willfully. But yeah, that's it. You know, peace to you all. Thanks for coming through and sticking with me. Until next time. See y'all later.